Hey there, Adam Dolce from sexyconfidence.com, and in this very special video right now, I'm gonna be talking about how to overcome your social fears. I actually just gave a presentation, two presentations to over 800 students. This used to be the most terrifying thing in the world to do. And following these 3 tips I'm gonna be teaching you right now, you can not only overcome your fear of public speaking, but also your fear of just going out and meeting new people. Keep watching. So I started speaking about 10 years ago to colleges all across the country on dating, relationships, how to overcome your social fears. But the interesting thing was that when I first started speaking, I myself was terrified of getting on stage. In fact, public speaking is one of the top fears that most people have. And if you can actually overcome your fear of public speaking, it's also going to translate into your love life and your social life. So these 3 tips are really going to help you be able to get out there more and finally overcome those social fears. So my first tip for you is to get what I call socially warmed up before you go out to a party or before you even give a big speech. Here's what I mean by that. Whenever most people go out and they go meet new people, what do? They spend their entire day not really talking to too many people. Maybe they're at their computer all day. And then they suddenly go to a party and walk into that place and haven't talked to people all day, and then they freeze up. And the same thing applies with speaking, by the way. Like, a lot of people, they freeze up at the thought of going on stage, and it's because they're not socially warmed up. So what I basically teach people to do is before you go out and meet new people, or before you certainly give a speech, just get comfortable getting your lips moving. I mean, start talking to people, whether it's just like the clerk, at a convenience store, maybe it's someone on the street just saying hi, starting a conversation, or even just like, let's say, calling an old friend, just to get you into that social state of being more comfortable and confident. It's pretty crazy to realize that being social is all about a mindset. And you'll find that if you learn how to get a little bit more socially warmed up before you go out, before you get on stage, before you do anything that makes you socially nervous, you're going to find that it's so much easier to actually have those conversations if you get into that right mentality. And I'll tell you what, when I first started speaking,
now, I always assumed that just because my environment around me was changing, that I would indeed change myself. Now, that wasn't the case. Now, I did have a night, though, when all of this changed, and that's where I ended up on the road to being here right now.
I started implementing these skills. I would go around talking to the audience before getting on stage, and immediately it would make me feel so much better rather than just going right on stage and giving the presentation. So when I used to go with clients, we would do like really weird, wacky things before we go out. We'd go around, like, give high fives to random people, talk to like the clerk at a convenience store, be doing like moonwalks around random people. Like, whatever we can do to get into a fun, playful state before we go out. And it's amazing how much more comfortable you'll feel when you're meeting new people. So you don't have to be like going and giving moonwalks or anything before you go out, but before you go to a party, before you go to an event, take time to just like say hi to a couple people that you don't know. Just say a quick hello, smile, get the lips moving, and you'll find that it's so much easier to actually meet people once you get to that bigger party. Does that make sense? Tip number 2 I have for you is to prepare. Certainly with speaking, it's useful to have obviously an outline for you of exactly what to follow, but don't prepare too much, right? It's one of those things. If you have every single word line by line, that's probably going to freeze you up. The same thing applies to socializing. It's good to have a few conversational starters to get the ball rolling, but don't like read from a script or have some like ridiculous pickup line. Prepare enough so that you have a format to work with, but not so much that if you veer off kind of the script, you're going to freeze up. For example, if you're going out, let's say, to a networking event, and that makes you really nervous going there, and you've never really done that before, a great way to prepare for that is just go up to a bunch of people and just say, hey, so what brings you here tonight? Like, right? It's like a very easy way to start a conversation, but it's something you can use with every person that you meet. And then from there, it's going to be so much easier to start a new conversation with people because you don't have to think of like a way to start a conversation every single time. Kind of simple ways to be able to start a conversation is, 1, just simplify. Just simplify the whole process. For whatever reason, when we want to go out and meet a new person, we think that we need to create this ridiculously beautiful, poetic moment where it's going to come out exactly the way you've rehearsed it in order to be able to start that conversation. And then what usually happens is you start the conversation, you freeze up, and you're like, I'm getting out of this, right? So instead, just simplify the whole process. Like, you can go out and meet 30 people around this room in a day, just going up to people and say, hey, we haven't met yet. My name is Adam, right? insert your name there, all right? That's a really easy way to just go up and meet a lot of people. Women, you can go up to a guy and just say, hey, with a smile, boom, conversation started, all right? So just getting out there and starting those conversations is a huge part of this. The next part is observe. So much of starting conversations is just observing your surroundings and just commenting on a few things. Is someone wearing an interesting t-shirt? Mention the t-shirt. Is there a poster on the wall of a band that you like? Cool, talk about that. Is there some music playing in the background that you could comment on? These are all things, like the world is our conversation. So using it is an amazing way to be able to connect with other people and just get the conversation started. Too many people focus on the conversation starting being the most important part of all of it, like doing it perfectly. But in reality, most people don't even remember that part of it. They remember your aura and your vibe. I do not like to write out a script. I like to have a general guideline of what I go with, but then kind of spitballing depending on the audience. It's much easier when it comes to public speaking, in my opinion, to not have that word by word. Because I think we've all seen speakers who they're clearly memorized it word for word and it doesn't feel natural. And that's what we obviously want to avoid. And then finally, tip number 3 is to practice. Practice truly makes perfect. When I first started speaking, my first 10 to 20 speeches were horrendous, really bad. I used to give free speeches to anyone who would listen. I would go to YMCAs, student groups, anyone who would just bring in a free speaker because they didn't have budget to bring in anyone else. And that is what really kind of got me going. I would also do Toastmasters is a great way to overcome some of these social fears, getting in front of people. It's free and it's an easy way to really practice. And then as time goes on, it just becomes more natural. I mean, it really is true. Practice makes perfect. And the same thing applies to other social fears you might have. Going out and meeting new people. If you haven't gone to a party or a social event in the past year, you're going to feel uncomfortable going to social events. But if you kind of get on a regular schedule, let's say once a week, you decide, I'm gonna go out and meet new people, and I don't care what happens, I'm just gonna do it. Suddenly you're gonna find by week 4, by week 5, certainly week 6, you're just gonna feel so much more natural. All right, here is the challenge, Winona, and it goes like this. It's called the 1 for 1 challenge, and it goes like this. For the next 30 days, I just want you to go up and talk to one new person, all right? Now for me at the time, I was single, heterosexual male, so I was going out and meeting one new woman every single day just to build up my confidence. Now, for those of you who are single, go out, try and meet a new person every day. Doesn't have to be someone you're attracted to, could also be a friend. If you're in a relationship, you probably want to be careful here, okay? If you are in a relationship, go out and meet one new person that maybe you're not so attracted to, and that's cool, all right? But just having that regular practice of going out and meeting people, what you start to find is that it actually gets easier and easier as you go along. And in fact, as you do it more and more, and you kind of set a goal, every day, it just gets easier and easier. So then I continued doing that for actually over 2 years of my life. And before you know it, I started this company called Sexy Confidence, I started helping men at first, and now I help women with their confidence. And just to finalize this quick story, I actually just got recently engaged. So it worked. It worked. So I want to hear from you. What are some of your biggest social fears, and how are you going to implement the advice in this video right now to overcome those fears? And also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like this video because I have a ton of amazing content coming out very soon. And finally, if you want a ton of resources that will help you through every single stage of dating, relationships, and love, head on over to sexyconfidence.com, and I'll see you there. Bye-bye.